College in Madonna, Georgia. And this is a class that goes for 4 weeks, once a month, 4 times over. And we are tackling, of course, the basic issue, which is, what did Jesus say? Now, you've heard about Black Lives Matter, or All Lives Matter, or White Lives Matter, whatever. All lives matter. The words of Jesus matter. Please never forget that. I'm going to show you that from the books, among other things, that they don't believe that. Out there in religion world, they do not think the words of Jesus necessarily matter. That needs to be corrected. So you have in front of you, or I'll get it to you, Anger's Bible Dictionary. Actually, it's 2 versions of it. One's the concise one, one's the non-concise one. Take one of those. And we'll, actually, I'd rather wait till the others come before we pray and start together. What hope do we have of having more than 3? You're not responsible for your brothers, eh? Okay. We'll wait and see, maybe. Yeah, 3 votes. So we're going to start this morning by reading from the Anger's Bible Dictionary, which the students have in front of them a copy of. I want to show you that deliberately, according to Anger's Bible Dictionary, which is a typical evangelical, standard evangelical dictionary, when they define the gospel, they say, don't believe in the kingdom. I find that quite astonishing. And so you'll see from these quotes how they define the gospel. Now, the whole point is that you've got to change that now. The more you hear, the more you're responsible for what you do. So this is your challenge as you go out into ministry, because the words of Jesus do matter. For example, a voice said from heaven in the Gospels, "This is my son." How does that finish? This is my son.
With whom I'm well pleased.
What's that?
With whom I'm well pleased.
That's exactly right. And another statement too. This is my son. What else? With whom I'm delighted. I'm thrilled with my son. Then listen to him. You and I are going to be judged by the words of Jesus. That's Acts 17, where God has set a calendar date in which he's going to judge the world by a man whom he's raised from the dead to prove it. Isn't that marvelous? Why aren't these verses preached all the time? Because they're so fundamental. So yes, this is my son, listen to him, and I'm delighted with him. Give me another delighted text. You know, another one that's, I'm well pleased, I'm thrilled, I'm very delighted. It's the one which says, fear not, little flock. It's your Father's delight, good pleasure, to what? Give you the kingdom. How about that? There's a God in heaven and a Jesus at the right hand, and they are wanting to give you the kingdom, which means cause you to rule the world, fix the world. Wouldn't you love to do that? It's heartbreaking as you see how bad the world is, right? So that's the destiny of Christianity. Okay, in this Anger's Bible Dictionary, the first page there, this is the standard Anger's Bible Dictionary. The second one is the concise version. They say the same thing, but I wanted you to have it twice. I mean, this is the major point that you should be getting out of this class. Number 1, here's the gospel as defined by Anger's Bible Dictionary. See what you think of this. The good news, they say, the gospel is the good news of the death, burial, and resurrection of Messiah as provided by our Lord and preached by his disciples. And then they give you 1 Corinthians 15. And most people say, well, sure, sounds good to me. But it's wrong. Because Jesus obviously preached lots about the kingdom before we got to his death. The gospel then, they say, is the full and free deliverance from sin on the basis of simple faith in Jesus Christ, the vicarious sin bearer. Certainly couldn't disagree with that. In this aspect, the gospel has 2 phases. 1, to the unsaved, Christ died for me. 2nd, to the saved, I died in Christ. I like that. It's fine. You die in Christ, you die to yourself in Christ, with a key, the experiential, long word, realization of this fact, and furnished by Romans 6. Okay, problem with that is, obviously, that Jesus did not come into Galilee saying, repent because I'm going to die for your sins, right? This is the basis of this movement. I mean, I do want to be over dramatic, So we do have a responsibility, if this is true, to relay this to everybody. Because it's dangerous not to believe in the words of Jesus, isn't it? This is my son, listen here. So the notion is, Jesus died for your sins. I get that. I see that. That's a great relief. Well, now I'm free. I'm not guilty anymore. But that's not the whole point. Now, I've started the race. Now, what am I aiming at? And that is, obviously, the kingdom of God. That makes good sense to you guys, doesn't it? Because you really heard this thanks to your parents. So you give a quiet prayer of thanks to your parents who taught you this. It is huge. Churchill said, if you've got a point to make, you go on making your single point. You make it once, then you get a hammer and you give it a big whack. That actually is right. Churchill was a smart guy. He brought the Brits through the war, you know that. You're going to have to make your point over and over and over again because you understand it doesn't mean they do, right? So you're going to have to make it repeatedly. Good. Okay, second definition. They then say there's two forms of the gospel to be differentiated. And then they say many Bible teachers make a distinction. Dangerous, right? People make a distinction between the human Jesus and the God Jesus. Oh, cut that in half, right? They say there are two raptures, one pre and one, let's cut it into two. You can make mincemeat out of things by cutting everything into two. You can create confusion very quickly. Some people like the Armstrong said there are two gods. There's the God Jesus and the God Father. That's two. Whoa, I don't need that. Two gospels is a kind of nightmare for me. It's too complicated. Two gospels, one for the Jews and one not for the Jews. That doesn't work. So, number one is the gospel of the kingdom. The good news that God's purpose is to establish an earthly, take the D off that word, and, that's the typo, take the D off that word, and an earthly mediatorial kingdom in fulfillment of the Davidic covenant. Two proclamations of the gospel of the kingdom are mentioned. One, already passed. That's amazing. Beginning with the ministry of John the Baptist, carried on by our Lord Jesus and his disciples, and ending with the Jewish rejection of Messiah. Do you see that? I find this absolutely astonishing. I think it's fundamentally wrong. Jesus preached the kingdom, they admit that. It's for Jews. It's got to be wrong. It's systematically wrong, right? And your job, folks, is to speak in the name of God and Jesus gently and kindly, but to correct that. That's got to be wrong. So that kingdom gospel that we're doing in class, I'm really misleading you because I'm suggesting you should preach the gospel of the kingdom everywhere. And they're saying, no, that's for Jews until they rejected it. So now we switch gears and do something else. It's just amazing to me. How could you, is there any other field, computers, technology, where you could be so systematically wrong? I can't think of any. It's just astonishing. So my impression from dealing with emails and YouTube, several hours a day, sometimes 4 or 5 hours a day. It's only when you get out there and see what chaos is there, it really drives you to do something. The current thing the devil is working on is the Jewish roots movement. You should be keeping the Sabbath. I'm speaking as the devil now. You should be keeping the Sabbath, fourth commandment, right? You should be resting on Friday sunset. Lose your job if you have to work after Friday sunset. You should certainly be keeping the new moons and the holy days. And your males should be physically circumcised, because that's what the Bible says. It's wrong. We were in Florida. I'm not talking theory here. We were in Florida with a very nice group of people who entertained us richly, laid on a big party for us, and then the next day I was to tell them my beliefs, and they are Unitarians. They believe God is one, Jesus Messiah. But one or two of the ladies were getting restless because I was saying Jesus this and Jesus that. I'm not supposed to say that. I'm supposed to say Yeshua. Dangerous, right? That tells me something about who you are. You can say Yeshua if you want to. That's the name in Hebrew, but who cares? What you're doing there is subtly saying, I don't believe the New Testament scriptures, right? It's dangerous. You have the New Testament scriptures in Greek. Is it clear? That was the internet language of the day. That's why they're written in Greek. They're not translated out of Hebrew. You can imagine Paul writing to all these Gentiles in Hebrew. They're silly. No, he wrote in Greek. And they call him Jesus, which is Jesus in English. So the moment somebody says, it should be Yeshua, or even worse, Yahshua, which doesn't even exist as a word, you can tell they've been infected by some wrong idea. And we were there as Sabbath keepers, and Armstrong came out in 1974. That's wrong. I didn't know, because it does say keep the Sabbath. It does say that. So this idiot was doing it, right? I've been there. I know what it's like to know nothing about the Bible all my 20 years. And then to be told you've got to keep the fourth commandment because that's what it says. And to do it for 14 years, met my wife in it, she was only Sabbath keeper 2 years. I'm grateful for all that. But it's wrong. Now let's get it right. Because we're supposed to do what Jesus says. And Jesus actually said something interesting. We did this in Peru when we were down there. Jesus said, haven't you read that there were people in the Old Testament even who broke the Sabbath and are guiltless? The priests, when they worked on Saturday in the temple, were not guilty. How much more then? He looks at himself and says, he's the temple. That's brilliant. So there was a shadow, you see, or shadow of Sabbath breaking right there. That's brilliant. Anyway, if you don't want to eat pork, that's up to you. Fine. Don't make it an issue. That's a fierce legalism which kills the faith. Anyway, that's a warning. Out there then, the Jewish roots thing is to be washed. You're going to have to keep that. Right. Continuing with this, preaching, the other preaching of the gospel of the kingdom, he says here, is yet future. All right, so I see the kingdom of God was preached to Jews. They rejected, then we quit on that, and we went to the death and resurrection of earth. But in the future, after the preacher of rapture, which I will say boldly is not a doctrine that you need to believe, there's only one second coming. So after the supposed primary first coming, second coming, that's too difficult for me to say, there's only one second. Anyway, the pre-trib rapture, so-called, right. After that, then, this idea, this is Billy Graham, all your evangelical friends out there, all his friends, believe this. Then you start preaching the kingdom to Jews again, right? You preach it then, but you don't preach it now. So you're left preaching no kingdom right now. So what do you preach? The gospel of the grace of God, which means Jesus died and rose. You don't preach it. It's got to be wrong. Right, so you are responsible for that information now. You have to do what you can to correct it. Good friend Madison here came into class and she has memorized the 8 kingdom texts in the book of Acts. Full of admiration. 1:3, 1:6, 8:12, 14:22, 19:8, 20, 24, 25, and 28, 23, 30. You've got to know those, like, that's something you know, like 2 + 2 is 4. If you don't know that, you ain't starting. Why is that so good? Because it shows that Paul was preaching the same kingdom gospel as Jesus. You got it right. Isn't that marvelous? I think that's absolutely brilliant. But why aren't you hearing these in sermons? You should be, Pastor, tell us to preach the kingdom. Go through those verses systematically for us so we get there. Okay, once again, 1:3, 1:6, 8:12, 14:22, 19:8, 20, 24, 25, and 28, 23, 31. Those you must know for next time. So let's talk about next time then. Next time is our final class. You should come with a research paper of some sort, right? Something if you investigate anything online, a blog, if you interacted with the blog, that's fantastic. I would love that. Otherwise, any part of the kingdom that you want to do, and discuss with us, give us the flavor of what you've done as a research paper. And as final exam, you have a choice. You either give us a sermon, maybe 10, 15 minutes, or if you're not into sermonizing, you can write something, whichever you like. But we had a really good sermon from Nathan Massey last time we did this class. It was bad. It was so good that we put it up on our website. Still there. Really very good. So you have to make a choice, and that's next time. Then you get your spectacular grade and proceed to graduation. Okay, so the other preaching, they say, of the gospel of the kingdom is yet future. That's Matthew 24:14. You know that. This gospel of the kingdom will be preached in the whole world, and then the end will come. Let's argue about that. That's not. It's very clear. So they're saying that's in the future, but it's not in the present. It was in the past, it's not in the present, and it will be again in the future. That's fundamentally wrong. Wrong. That's an X through the whole thing. That Bible dictionary article should be corrected. The kingdom of God gospel did not stop. It continued always, and Paul's preaching of the kingdom in Acts shows that to be true. So, Jesus also, in Acts 1:3, comes back for 6 weeks lectures on the kingdom. That's amazing. That was his favorite subject. You see, we want to be like Jesus, right? Oh, I want to be loving and sweet. Yeah, I get that. You want to be like Jesus, you've got to preach the same things as Jesus preached. The words of Jesus matter, to use the current political language. Because you're going to be judged by that. You and I are going to be judged by those words. God will say, wait a minute, I didn't hear you talk about the kingdom. Well, my son did. So what's up with that? It's not a good idea. Second, then, the second form of the gospel is the gospel of the grace of God. Paul calls the gospel of the grace of God my gospel. Clever. Oh, I see. Paul's got his own gospel different from Jesus. See how clever that is? My gospel, Paul says. Therefore, Paul's gospel was different from that of Jesus. That's false. No. Paul preached the same kingdom gospel. Of course, Paul added the new material about the death and resurrection. We see that. He develops things that Jesus didn't. We know that. But Paul never left the basis. The full doctrinal content based on the gospel of the grace of God embraces the revelation of the result and the outcalling of the church and so on, all of that. It's okay. Distinctive Pauline truth, honeycombing Ephesians and Colossians, is interwoven in all Paul's writings. And then I edited my editing comment, is in no way different from the gospel. How do we know that? From Acts chapter 20, verses 24 and 25, which equates the preaching of the kingdom with the gospel of grace of God. Let's just read that for the sake of the public here. So Paul then, reciting an account of his own preaching, summarizing his career in Acts 20, verses 24 and 25. Madison, would you read verse 24 for us of Acts 20? What does that say?
Acts 20:24 says, "But I count my life of no value to myself, so that I may finish my course in the ministry I received from the Lord Jesus to testify the gospel of God's grace."
Okay, isn't that wonderful? He's recounting his career, looking back on his career, summoned the elders at Miletus, had a meeting, and he says then that I don't consider my life of any account as dear to myself. You read yourself into the text with the Bible, right? This is you. Are you so given to the cause of Jesus that your life is secondary to the cause of Jesus? This is what Paul is saying. And so that I may finish my race, my course, and the ministry which I received from the Lord Jesus, to testify solemnly. That's a very strong word, a legal term, right? I'm telling you on the authority of God now. This is not me. That's what Paul is saying. This is a solemn testimony from God about the kingdom of God. This is serious business, you guys, in ministry. Have you preached in chapel yet? You will soon, I'm sure. You have, or not? Yeah. What did you preach on in chapel?
I preached on the Jesus' inaugural speech.
Very good. Inaugural speech in Mark. What about it? No, and probably Luke. Yeah. Where he takes the text from Isaiah and applies it to himself. That was a terrific base text, wasn't it? Isn't that really impressive? It's the same subject. That's one. I do remember some of the sermons rather well. We had somebody, Kyle Casey was over here, and preached on Navy SEALs. He was in the Navy SEALs. So that was neat. And then the guy from Missouri who came in with a big axe. Did you see that sermon? What's his name from Missouri?
Jesse.
Huh?
Jesse.
Jesse, right. Jesse. See, I remember this forever. This is several years back. He came in and he said, the axe is laid at the root of the thing. And he waved the axe around. That was a rather good visual aid, wasn't it? So you might want to try some of those things when you preach. I mean, I'm hoping that, 60 years from now, if the age should go on that line of the world, you'll be telling your children. I remember that guy, I forgot his name, but I know he went on about the kingdom, because then we will have perpetuated the teaching of Jesus. Okay, so verse 25 then says, and now, well, I know that all of you, among whom I went about heralding the kingdom, right? You've got two basic gospel words. One is to evangelize, which means to preach the gospel of the kingdom. The other is to herald. That's to get a trumpet, blow it loud, right? Because it's the only thing that matters. Does that occur to you? You get these fantastic advertisements. Barbara gets them all the time. You can live to 106. They say 106. You can be 106 years old. you can take this pill and all your cells will be renewed. And you can take this supplement, that supplement, you're going to live. You won't believe life is incredible, right? You can take Aleve. I'll be cynical now. You can take this drug and be careful because one of the side effects is death. Be careful with should I say it publicly? Lyrica. Okay, I will say it. Lyrica. You can take Lyrica. It's going to take away all the pain in your feet. No pain? Wonderful. But be careful because if you're taking another drug with it, you probably die mixing the two. See, I'm not in favor of the present system, you see. And so, take one drug and solve one problem and create another one. How did that fit in with what I was saying? I've forgotten my senior movies here. You see the point, there's a parallel.
It's a good footnote on the Net
Yes,
Bible,
please.
which I use a lot.
Yes, indeed.
Just note how Paul's usage of the expression proclaiming the kingdom is associated with and intertwined with his testifying to the good news of God's grace in verse 24. For Paul, the two concepts were interrelated.
Absolutely. They're synonymous, in fact. That's great. It's the same thing. But you will not hear those verses preached clearly. I've been to evangelical meetings where they're finding the gospel and they will read verse 24 and stop and not read verse 20. I've heard it. I can see the guy in the pulpit now, a big evangelical preacher, and he's defining the gospel and he stops at verse 24. Didn't read to 25. I want to tell you that error is aggressive and intentional. It's very aggressive. So you have to come against it. All right, so that's one of your 8 kingdom texts. Then we take it verse 25, but you can tie in 24 with it. Not only are they interrelated, the one defines the other, right? If you said to Paul, preaching the grace of God is different from preaching the kingdom, just laugh at you. Stupid. It's very gracious of God to give you the kingdom. Fear not, little flock, Luke 12:32. Fear not, little flock, it's your Father's good pleasure. He's thrilled to pieces to give you the kingdom. I say, great. That's a good idea. That's the Logos. In the beginning was the Logos, the plan. Really the immortality plan. Yeah, okay, back to the supplements. The supplements will get you live to 106, and all your pains are gone, your cells are. Wait a minute. I thought we were talking about immortality. Why isn't anybody excited about that? I mean, living to 106 is remarkable, but so what? What about the rest of eternity? In trouble. So you are ministers of immortality. Okay, what verse is this? Jesus, through the gospel, brought to light immortality and life. What verse is that? Because that's when you preach 5 times every Sunday. Make my point. He's got it on his magic machine here already. 2 Timothy 1:10. All right.
Sorry, I was making a note.
Okay, that's great. You're absolutely entitled to do that. Here's the verse you don't know. Jesus brought life and immortality to light in the gospel, right? Now you've learned it's the gospel about the kingdom. Isn't that brilliant? So you guys are doing much better than Lyrica, which might ease the pain in your feet. But the side effects are considerable. One of them is shortness of breath. Be careful. You can't breathe all like that. Now I'm being very cynical here, but here Jesus brought immortality, athanasius, the inability to die. Negative, thanasia, death, right? You can't die forever. He brought it to light through the gospel. So guess what we did with this poor man as a human race? We killed him, right? How stupid is that? Some of the opposite of mortality, well, we don't want him around.
Can you explain the present tense here of he has done this? The present tense nature of the statement?
Which verse is that? He has.
The 2 Timothy.
Okay, read that for us.
This is your paraphrase. The Messiah has abolished.
Yes.
He has abolished death. Brought immortality to light by means of the gospel.
Okay. Well, he certainly is, maybe has abolished. I should perhaps have written just abolished death. What the other translations have? Destroyed. Straight death? Destroyed death, right, not has destroyed. I think I'll change that in the next version. Better still, he destroyed death, he abolished death, and brought life, with a capital L, and immortality.
So he's talking about his resurrection?
Yeah, well,
Not
everybody's, his and everybody else's. He's revealed the way to immortality, that's all it is. He's abolished death. Of course, it hasn't happened for you and me yet, it hasn't abolished our death, but potentially yes, right? Because you know that if you die now, you're going to be raised in the resurrection to life forever. I think it's staggering. So you are, I hope, privileged to be ministers of immortality. That is remarkable. This takes some meditation, though. That's where meditation comes in. As you fall asleep at night, as you wake up in the morning, let that churn around in your head. It's one thing just to hear a verse, you say, well, that's nice, put it in your notes. It's another thing to internalize that. And it's easier when you're 80 to do it than when you're younger, maybe. But you are very serious-minded people. Because here you are, at this younger age, taking all this. Okay, so that's 2 Timothy 1:10. That's a key verse. 2 Timothy 1:10, Jesus abolished death and brought immortality and life. So I was suggesting to Madison in her nice paper, she did a nice paper, you all wrote well. Good, right? She might talk about the life of the age to come. Tom Bright, Bishop Bright, Joe's talked about him. Bishop Bright is the leading evangelical scholar in the world by far. Very brilliant guys all around the world, actually. And he, in his translation, he has the life of the age to come. That's actually quite clever because it is eternal life. That's not wrong. But it's the life of the age to come. Where does that come from in the Bible? You know, what's the source of that phrase? The life of the age to come. This is using an Old Testament verse. The answer is Daniel 12, verse 2. Right? So that's another key verse. Daniel 12, verse 2. Many of those who are sleeping in the dust of the ground will awake. Some to the life of the age to come. In Hebrew, Chaye Olam. You need an umbrella in the front row when you're doing Hebrew because it's Johann Sebastian Bach stuff. Chaye, the life of the age. Chaye Olam, the life of the age. And the rabbis said, if that's resurrection life, that would have to be the life of the age to come. Hence, 40 times in the New Testament, you've got eternal life, right? It's the life of the age to come. Yeah.
that verse, the opposite is everlasting disgrace.
Yes, of course. Some, and the rabbis, I think, correctly said, some, and this would be at a different time. Only in Revelation 20 does it tell you that the rest of the dead didn't come alive till the end of 1,000 years. But that's implied in Daniel 12. Some get the life of age to come, and others, who by implication rise at a different time, rise to shame and disgrace. That's rejection in some way. Now, that's not to talk about the wider hope, you know, that people have never heard of Jesus. I'm sure God deals with them in his way. But whoever these unfortunate people are, it's ultimate disgrace and shame to be in that resurrection. It's awful. So don't forget in Revelation 20, verse 5, by the way, the rest of the dead, Revelation 20, verse 5, the millennial passage, says that those who are beheaded and all the faithful saints come to life and begin to reign. We'll read that maybe. We'll put it in there. Come to life and begin to reign with Messiah for 1,000 years. That's premillennialism. It's a beautiful doctrine. It's a destiny. But the rest of the dead, Revelation 20, verse 5, the 10 million, 12 million JWs at your door try to get rid of that verse. They don't like that verse. They want to have resurrection during 1,000 years. They say, well, that doesn't belong in the text. It does. The rest of the dead did not come to life until the end of 1,000 years. That will be the second resurrection. Okay, all of that is quite clear to you. Preaching the kingdom is the preaching of the grace of God. On this Bible dictionary, back there a moment. Then number 3 would be a different gospel. Paul talks about a different gospel in the book of Galatians. And Paul, one might say, pulls out all the stops to express his contempt for a different gospel. Why? Because it's killing people. The devil is in the business of mimicking the true gospel. And in Galatians, the Judaizers, the Jewish component, had not understood that we're not under the old covenant letter, so they're trying to reintroduce circumcision, right? Make that binding, Sabbath keeping, all that. Paul is incensed, right? He uses humor, he uses sarcasm in terms of circumcision. He said, I wish they would just cut it off, right? Slightly vulgar to make his point. You see that? He uses humor. He's very cynical. He says, you idiot. Galatians, you foolish people, why having started in Christ are you going back away from Christ? Paul is impassioned, and you should be too, to keep people on the simple, straight and narrow way. I was talking to David Crowe about that this morning. These people actually were quite remarkable. They didn't fall for the Jewish roots thing, right? They easily could have done Sabbath keeping. They didn't. So I think my point to you guys is there's a huge heritage for you here. And you become responsible for doing your utmost to keep that. Your parents, I'm sure, would agree with all of that. So, different Gospel 3. Now, second page then. This is the concise dictionary. Get the same thing. I want to make the point for you second time over. Good gospel means good news, no question. Good news. Good news is addressed to the lost humanity, of course. It centers in God's grace. No question. It is God's grace. It's very gracious for God to want to give you immortality, isn't it? It's kind of a gift. Whoa. What? You live forever? Yes, thank you. Wow, that's amazing. So it's all about grace from the Creator. And it rescues us from sin and restores man to God's image and fellowship. I get that. Adam was supposed to be in the image of God, was in the image of God, supposed to be God's co-regent. He's supposed to rule the world, and he fails dismally. Between them, they listen to the devil, who questions. The devil says, what did God really say? You shouldn't eat of this tree, right? That's what the devil does. He questions. Makes you wonder, well, maybe God didn't say that. Very dangerous. And then flat out lie, right? Did God really say? And then God said, the devil said, you're not going to die. Why was it wrong to have the tree of knowledge of good and evil? I think it doesn't explain it exactly. They weren't ready for that. Probably. There's nothing wrong with knowing good and evil. In Hebrews, it says you do know good and evil. You do. That's a great thing. So why was it wrong for them to have the tree of the knowledge of good and evil? Perhaps because they were in their infancy, weren't they? They weren't ready to deal with good and evil at that stage. So they were not to touch that tree at that stage. Perhaps that's the reason. That might be. Anyway, you know the story. It's a disaster. They then fell apart badly. They had the Tower of Babel. Cain killed his brother. What? How bad is that? And the blood of Abel is screaming from the ground, metaphorically, right? So that's where it all goes wrong, then the Tower of Babel, then the flood, right? How many people survived the flood? You all know. How many people? 8. It's the number of Jesus. 888. Yeast in Greek happens to add up to 8 is a great number because it's 1. 7 is 1. 888. So the story is terrible. And then God comes along and says, let me try again. I'll start with Abraham and Sarah. That's beautiful, isn't it? It's almost like a new creation. It's kind of wrecking for 11 chapters. And in chapter 12, you're going to say when you're out there in Africa helping Joe, I hope you can travel. Raise a little money, get your local church, raises an airfare. It will change your world. To mix and mingle with people who will never switch on the light and never flush it on. And die of AIDS at 45 or malnutrition, right? It's standing grits 3 times a day. It's eye-opening. When I went there in 93 and then took our 2 daughters after that, 94, 95. It's an eye-opening experience to see how the rest of the world is. Anyway, so that's the story of Abraham and Sarah. You begin recovery there. He's the father of the faithful. And what you have is the faith of Abraham. And according to the right translation, you have the faith of Jesus, not just faith in Jesus. So they'll use the King James version. You've got to believe on Jesus. Nothing. Nobody believes on anything today. That's silly. It's fog language, right? You believe in things. You don't believe on them. So beware of the fog King James language sometimes. You believe in Jesus, and that gives you the faith of Jesus. Not just faith in Jesus. The faith of Jesus. God is one. That Jesus is the human Messiah. And the gospel is about the kingdom of God and the death and resurrection of Jesus. Somewhere or other. We didn't know about you guys. Never heard of Mike's sister. Those days. Came across, probably being from Michigan, came to the States. I was a green card person, still am. And we found, so it was complete change of career, right? It's amazing, based on what I'm telling you. I mean, I'm not just telling you theory, I'm telling you the way we operate. Now, Jesus could say, oh, you idiot, you got this wrong, you look at this verse. I'm ready to hear that. I don't think this is wrong. I don't think this could be wrong. If it's wrong, then the Bible is wrong. And at that point, this is obviously clear. Okay, so then he says, Gospel's first announced when God promised Adam and Eve, the seed of the woman crushed the serpent's head. You know that verse, right? 3:15, the seed of the woman, the descendant of the woman, Eve's child, ultimately, will crush the serpent's head. That hasn't happened yet. The end of Romans, it talks about God will shortly crush the devil. He hasn't done it. Meanwhile, you're going to be wounded by supporting Jesus, but the devil gets crushed eventually. It was prefigured in the shed blood of the animal, which God killed in order to clothe the naked sinners. That's interesting, isn't it? Had to kill an animal to give clothing to cover the sins. That's an interesting concept. I've used this illustration that if you have a little lamb that you keep alive when it's very sick and it grows up to be a strong sheep, and then you tell a whopping lie to your mother, and she says, right, you're not going to kill that sheep. It would mean a lot to you, wouldn't it? So I understand it this way, and you can discuss it with other teachers and see if they agree. Your blood then is your life. It's your death. It's a symbol of life and death, isn't it? You can't give more than your blood. So you're giving your blood for somebody else. You're giving your life for someone else. The wages of sin is death, therefore somebody has to die. That's the rule of the universe. You can't have sin without some penalty. I get it. So Jesus is kind enough to go and die in my place, probably also appeasing the wrath of God, and so probably that too, because Phinehas in one of the Psalms said, oh God, don't kill these people, right? Abraham said, God, if they're just a couple of righteous people, will you spare them? And God listened to that. Moses pleaded, don't destroy these people. Jesus pleads with God, don't destroy them. Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. They still have to repent, by the way. You have to repent to be forgiven. God is certainly very forgiving, but they still have to repent. He didn't say, Father, forgive them. They don't need to repent. Ooh, no. They just have to repent, because that's repent, believe in the gospel. But then when they repented, then that propitiatory death is there in place for us. It's the atonement. Okay, one human requirement is faith in God's grace. Absolutely. Faith is everything, but it's the obedience of faith, the obedience of faith. I made that point to you. Framing the book of Romans 1, Romans chapter 16, the obedience of faith. Why is that so important? Because faith can easily become vague, undefined belief, right? So obedience without faith is nothing. Faith without obedience is nothing. Is that legalism? No. You're not saying, God, I deserve to have this or that because I'm so good. But you're also not saying, I believe in Jesus vaguely, but it doesn't matter what I do. That's false. That's a false grace, right? So I think the obedience of faith is right. Hebrews 5:9, you've got it in your notes, maybe one more time. Hebrews 5:9 says, salvation is given to those who obey Jesus. Isn't that brilliant? If I could ask Madison to read that verse for us, would you be our reader a moment and do Hebrews 5:9? This is such a good summary, I think. What does it say? Hebrews 5:9.
After he was perfected, he became the source of eternal salvation for all who obey him.
Isn't that wonderful? The source of the salvation of the age to come, eternal, same thing. To all who just say, well, I believe on you. No, to all those who obey him. That's brilliant. Brilliant text. You preach that often. And it's exactly like then, as I said, the framing of Romans 1. Let's just look at those two verses one more time, make sure we got them. Romans chapter 1, the obedience of faith. Right at the beginning of Romans, got it? I'll mention it again. Romans chapter 1. Paul, a bond servant of Christ Messiah Jesus, Paul is an apostle and set apart for the gospel of God, which I'll show in a moment is exactly the same as the gospel of the kingdom, which he promised beforehand. That's the word which became flesh. He promised it. In the beginning was the word. Through his prophets in the Holy Scriptures, concerning his son, who was born as the descendant of David. He's packing it in here. according to the flesh, was declared to be the Son of God with power. Note, he wasn't the Son of God for the first time at the resurrection. He was the Son of God from birth. But it was declared with power, right? A powerful manifestation of sonship happened at the resurrection. Didn't begin to be Son at the resurrection. He was certainly Son before that. And so that's the verse we're coming to, verse 5. Through whom we have received grace. I love that. That's the gospel of the grace of God, Acts 20:4. And apostleship, to bring about, that is, the obedience of faith, the obedience of faith, the obedience of faith. So faith without obedience is not faith. I get it. You've got to obey God. But it's not, you've got to circumcise your males. It's not, you must strictly observe the food laws. It's not, you must keep the Sabbath on pain of losing your job. That's wrong. That's actually disobedience. You can plead for obedience in the Old Testament and be disobedient to Christ. Isn't that amazing? You say, well, it says, I did. Fourth commandment, keep the Sabbath. I did it. I was so uninstructed, I didn't know. That's the sign of the Old Covenant, the Sabbath is. But it's the Ten Commandments. Come on. Everyone believes it. Well, then, no, that's wrong. 2 Corinthians 3 says the glory of Moses has been superseded. It's a useful text. We're talking to people about Sabbath keeping. The glory of Moses, 2 Corinthians 3. The glory which shone, I think is the American pronunciation, in English, shone. How you Canadians say it, but get the point over. The glory which shone in the face of Moses is gone. The law written on tablets of stone is finished. This is what changed friends of ours from wrongly keeping the Sabbath. So you can say, I'm obeying God. Yes, you are, but you're in the wrong covenant. Wait a minute. Let's move you forward into Christ. Otherwise, you're killing yourself. You're cutting yourself off from Christ in the name of false obedience. Something like that. Okay, so there's the obedience of faith. Now go to the end of Romans, and we find it again, framing Romans. End of Romans, while making this point. Okay. Romans 16, the 16th chapter, isn't it in there somewhere?
Yeah, 16:26.
26. 25 says, now to him who is able to establish you, going to my gospel, which is the gospel of the kingdom. It's not Paul's gospel, right? It's different from Jesus, you got it. And the preaching of Jesus Messiah, of course. It's all about what Jesus preached. According to the revelation of the mystery, that's God's plan now unfolded, not a mystery that nobody understands. God's unfolded immortality plan, which has been kept secret for long ages past, but now is manifested by the scriptures of the prophets, according to the commandment of the eternal God, has been made known to all the nations, leading to the obedience of faith. I like the way Paul has summarized. He packs all these things into it. That's brilliant, by the way. Good people need to understand it. To the only wise God, hey, there's a Unitarian verse, the only wise God. Your child of 2 understands that.
Interesting, the obedience of faith you have among all the nations.
Yes. Well, that gospel goes everywhere. It's great.
So that's a wider sort of.
Absolutely, for everybody, not just for Jews. You got that right. Okay, so that's the point. I think that point is clear to you, right? I mean, you've got that forever. Anybody want to say anything? I mean, it makes good sense because you're a good church of God people. You understood this. So we'll praise your parents for that. You wrote nicely then. Kyle, good thoughtful work. Mom and Dad taught you well, right? No question. And I know you're grateful for that. It's wonderful. I love the proverb that the one who bore you rejoice. Isn't that brilliant? We don't do enough with the proverbs, by the way. They're hidden away there, but isn't it? I mean, I live out some of these things. I read one the other day. The prayer of the righteous is God's delight. That's rather remarkable, isn't it? That makes God smile when you pray. He's thrilled with that. Well, if you're a father, you love when your children come and talk to you. Sure. I read that guy. Oh, that's amazing. Every one of those proverbs, like, he who blesses what is wrong is abominable. He who curses what is right is abominable, right? You better be careful when you judge. You say, well, I've heard the story of so-and-so. Oh, it's not unfair. They did this or that with it. Wait a minute. Don't make a judgment. You could be blessing what is wrong. Be careful. Get all the facts. If you're going to judge the world, You're going to judge righteously. Didn't Jesus say that? Judge righteously, not according just to appearance or feeling. So you are the real judges of the world and thing. Okay, so you say the kingdom of God is a message that's simply not preached enough. I believe that's very much true. It's not preached enough. So your job is to change that. Get on a blog and argue for it too, whatever. I think you see the point of that, don't you? The reason for us teaching that is we want you to have the funnest time ever in ministry. We really do. I've had fun with this. It's really a fun thing. In Africa, they just love the kingdom teaching. Joe's done a great job with it. So I want you to have fun with your speaking and your ministry and your preaching. And you're going to have fun doing kingdom stuff. I know. Okay. It's the message that's proclaimed throughout the whole Bible, not just the New Testament, of course. It's the whole of God's story. Have you noticed, I don't know if you listen to CNN News or one of them, doesn't matter, I'm not going to argue politics about it. Fox News is a little bit clearer in terms of some of its standards than the other, but Fox News and the others, they talk about the narrative a lot these days. You know, the narrative? Narrative. It's a great word. God has his narrative, his story. You are on board to tell God's story. The story is obviously a kingdom-oriented thing. That's a great privilege. You're telling God's story, and they don't know it well, so that's a big job. Jesus is quoted in the Bible time and time again talking about the kingdom of God. Absolutely. Matthew 4:17 shows us that Jesus preached about the kingdom of God his entire earthly ministry. If it were that important to Jesus, then it should be at the very heart of Christianity. I think that's unarguably so, isn't it? Take this with you, Africa, right? Korea. I hope they get to send you all over. You got some fun coming there. It's going to be exciting. Now, sitting in a plane for 28 hours is tiring. When you're my age, but it's exhausting, but people will appreciate it terrifically. In India, we just heard from David, there's another man recently who showed up in Pakistan. One of our people was killed in Pakistan. He was killed for being a Christian. One of our people. This recent one was beaten up by Christians for being a non-Trinitarian. I'm not kidding you. That's amazing. It's a Pentecostal Christian, good, all speaking in tongues, filled with the Spirit. So they're beating up on this poor guy for being a Unitarian. I told you, evil is ugly and aggressive. Again. So it's good stuff. You enjoyed writing that? You like writing? Then write lots, yeah. Maybe we should put that in our magazine. I might ask you online, send me this again, in fact, get back to you now. And we'll put it in the mag, you know, because people love to hear what the students are saying. Okay. It does not appear that Jesus was the head of the government at his first coming. Yeah, I would put that a bit strong. Certainly it was not the case, right? It doesn't appear he was the head of it. He wasn't politically orientated. When they said, get up there and be king, Jesus, which is what you do if you're Messiah, he headed to the hills, remember that? It wasn't the moment for him to take political office. That's a great point. Okay, there's definitely a sense of the kingdom being in the future. Some scholars will try to say the kingdom is already completely here. That's our millennialism. And of course, we all agree there is a sense in which the kingdom is present. You got that, right? Don't go overboard. The kingdom must be in our lives today. But it's essentially and primarily a future thing. That has to be said. So our millennialism is a disaster. If there's no millennium, then that whole passage about you rule and reign Christ is gone. And it would also mean the devil has been bound already. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. I had my aha moment getting off the tube train, teaching at your school in London. I thought, I got to figure out this R-mill, pre-mill thing. And Revelation 12:9 says, the devil is currently deceiving the entire world. That's what it says. He's currently deceiving the entire world. But in Revelation 20, it says he's been bound and put in the abyss so that he can deceive the world no longer, right? I thought, I got it. Isn't that brilliant? I mean, it's just a simple thing. You can't be reading that book and not reading that book at the same time. That's crazy. But note how the whole of the R-mill, Church of Christ particularly, have bought into that falsehood. Come on, folks, what's that? The devil's deceiving the entire world. You're telling me he's been bound at the cross? This is Augustine, this is Platonism, this is philosophy, the enemy of the simple truth of life. Okay. Good stuff. And then you very politely say, they will take Jesus' words on the future kingdom as figurative speech. Yes. You don't like to believe something, you say, dig. Means I don't want to believe it. This is a bad habit to get in, you say. That would be tough, I say. This is a disastrous twisting of the scripture which leads to destruction. Peter talks about those who twist the scriptures to their own ruin, right? So you made the point there. And then I mentioned Hebrews 5:9, free God, and then you had the free gift of God's eternal life, the life, the age to come in Christ Jesus. All of that's beautiful. We must express the true gospel message to people that revolves around the coming kingdom of God. Yeah, it's their destiny. I think it makes sense. If it's not, you raise your voices politely. You say, wait a minute, you're overlooking this. I'm listening. I don't think this is arguable, actually. I think this is clear. Okay, did that. Yeah, that's fine. You're doing well. That's good stuff. Good stuff indeed. And Jacob, with his Canadian accent. Yeah. Do people recognize you as Canadian?
They say they do. I don't really understand how. I think I have an accent.
Yeah, the things. Well, I don't have an accent. You all have an accent.
Yeah.
We all have an accent. No, you have a delightful, very gentle, very light Canadian. Just gives you away. Right? Well, you're really Brits, you guys.
Yeah.
Canadians that I've known have always been very individual people. Not that Americans are not, unfortunately. They have a special talent that they do it particularly well. Okay, reading response part 2, coming Kingdom Messiah, right? You described the book well, did very well, coming age, all the major points, no question. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, if I, it's good stuff. You've done the assignment. That's perfect. Good. That's a good, thoughtful work indeed. Right. That means you're done good. Right. You're doing well. As for Miss Sisler, what can we say about her? Wait, just kidding. First of all, I told her before you came in, she has been well taught by high school, right? And some people are not. Some people can't write a sentence. They can. That's a disaster. You need, as ministers of the gospel, ambassadors, you do need to write sentences properly. So be careful of the texting. As texting is fine, but make sure you can write decent sentences because you're not going to make an impression on the older generation. You write nicely. It's actually typed correctly. The spelling mistakes are very few, probably none. Okay, then you got, without the hope of the kingdom, the perfect utopia ruled by the perfect king. The people in the church are essentially hopeless. That's right. Hope is, as I pointed out in Colossians 1, 4, and 5, love and faith are because of hope. It's the hope that's driving you of this huge future. So that's most important. Yeah. The utopia. Paradise, right? Paradise restored. Jehovah's Witnesses have got that right and wrong. Their paradise is 144,000 go to heaven to be with Jesus. Well, he won't be there. That's wrong. The rest of the also runs on the earth. But there is paradise on earth coming. You've got a big job to sort out 10 million Jehovah's Witnesses. Some of whom commit suicide when the watchtower goes wrong, and others become Trinitarians, which actually makes no sense to me at all. They shouldn't be. You're there, of course. Welcome arms to them. So Paradise, Revelation 2:7, you will be, the thief on the cross, right? Truly I tell you today, comma, right? Not truly I tell you, today you'll be with me in paradise. That's just wrong punctuation. Truly I tell you today, as in Acts 20, verse 26, Paul says, I'm telling you right now, today, with all the solemnity like a master. So truly I'm telling you right now, because the thief, you should get this point, the thief says, remember me when you come bringing your kingdom, the future. He understood the kingdom gospel, get it? He knew Jesus was Messiah. Remember me, please, when you come back with your kingdom gospel. Truly I'm telling you right now, we don't have to wait till then. I'm telling you right now, comma, you will indeed be with me in the paradisos, the paradise garden of the kingdom, Revelation 2:7. And the paradise is a garden for a king. That's what it was. The Garden of Eden is a beautiful garden. So I'm plugging my wife here. Big magazine came from Georgia. The Georgia Gardening Magazine came with its cameras yesterday and interviewed her, and she'll have a whole article on what Joel Hemphill calls the paradise that God gave us, a slice of Eden. Why is it a slice of Eden? Because we've got a rock there, all the way from the other side of the stream, right to the corner of the house. Solid rock. And we've got water that never ceases, endless flow of water from a spring outside the property. It never stops. And I thought the other day, a city that's set on a hill cannot be hidden. Well, our house is right on a hill. So we've got all of those biblical symbols right there. I think that's just beautiful. Okay, so that's good stuff. Anything else here? God's narrative, yes. God's narrative, God's gospel is God's narrative. It's neat to be in on God's story, isn't it? It really is. You actually know what's going on around here. Most people don't. I've got a clue, right? You actually know what's going on. It takes years for this to develop in your thinking. You're making a great start. God's narrative, life of the age to come, the Chaye Olam, the life of the age, which the rabbis say, if it's resurrection life, it's the life of the age to come, right? 40 times in the New Testament. That's where they got it from. God so loved the world. It's not God so loved the world. It's just all plain. It's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. God loved the world in the following manner, that he gave his unique son, his uniquely begotten son, so that all who believe and obey him, you have to tell your audiences, right, would have the life of the age to come. The Chaye Olam, in Greek, the Zoe Aeonios. Zoe is life, as in Zoe, the name, right? Zoological and so on. Zoe Aeonios, the life of the age to come, which is immortality, 2 Timothy 1:10, right? Preach it everywhere. And you'll never have enough time. You know, Paul preached the kingdom what? From dawn till dusk. Isn't that amazing? From dawn till dusk, for 3 months, for 2 years. It takes time. Great to sing in church, but if you're singing for 50 minutes and preaching for 5, make it. You've got to have content in your preaching. Otherwise, they're not going to do it. It may feel good, but okay, you did well. So keep that on hand. We might want to use that in the magazine down the line. That's for you. And Dimitri, what happened to him today? He just picking up. We're missing Melvin. We knew we'd miss him. Stepan is what happened to him? I think he's out of here. You know, how can you pass the course if you're absent? No, it's going to be a stretch, even with the merciful David Crow. That's going to be a stretch. Okay. He wrote well. He did well, very well with that. He will make your innocent weather. He'll make you innocent, whether like the dawn. What? No, big question. Needs to be proofread. Always proofread carefully. I don't do it well. I do too many emails, but proofread carefully. You're making a better impression. You are. People relate well to it. You know, properly punctuated, properly written. Yeah, God should have a capital G. So when the day comes, we all would be judged. And when the day comes, you know, detail like that, it's important because you are ambassadors of it. All right, so we need to have a break, I think. Done an hour's work. Let's finish at 12 and then go till 3:30, okay?